All right, so I'm going to feel like the old lady in this conversation.
No, stop.
The mom or whatever. Because we today are really lucky to have lovely Gracie with us today, Gracie Perrault, who has an amazing Instagram presence. But we're going to talk to her about beauty, and we're super excited about that because I think in today's world, we are very driven by our social media. And I know as a business owner, we focus on our social media. We're doing reels, we're doing all kinds of stuff. But and especially for beauty, obviously, it's very prevalent on social media. But I think the thing that is so interesting to me for you guys generationally, and because I'm Gen X, and we didn't have that constant battery of images of ourselves. We've talked about this on the podcast versus today where you're just constantly looking at yourself. And this year changed all that because we all were in Zoom every day, or we were all on camera every day, no matter what your age. So looking at Instagram and looking at life through that lens, I think it's so fascinating because we're so hypercritical of ourselves. But now the push, obviously, is people want real. They don't want, I think 10 years ago, it was all super stylized. Everyone was super filtered. But now I think there's a pushback to that. People want to see authenticity, not only in their business feeds, but in the people that they follow. So we're super excited to have you, Gracie, because I think your point of view is so great because of you are on Instagram, you are considered an influencer, but also your age. So tell everybody how old you are.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Yeah, so excited to be here. But yeah, so I'm actually 19 years old. I started the whole beauty influencer. I actually started a lot in fashion and lifestyle and kind of went over to beauty now. But I started that back in 2016. So I've been in it for a few years. And I started at a young age. I'm a huge advocate for just starting young. Like if you have a passion or if you're interested in something, to just go for it and start and not wait for all of these things to fall into place and to be perfect. And so like for me, it was like fashion and like influencing other people through that. And I mean, from a young age, I was always into clothes and putting outfits together and using my mom's makeup and putting it on me. And I just kind of always had a passion for that. And so like one day it was when I was in high school, I was like, you know what, like I've had this passion for so long. Why don't I just start? And so I went for it and I started, and it was like the best choice that I ever made, and I've been able to make a lot of mistakes, but also I've been able to grow from those. And I think that's the benefit of starting young.
Do you look back at your early feed and think, oh my gosh?
Yes, and I cringe.
Or do you leave it?
Send me.
Is it still on your feed now? Can you get back? Okay, so you've left it.
So I left it, and I kind of go back and forth because I'm always like, gosh, I don't know if I should just delete this. But no, I just kind of left it because it just shows like how I've grown. You know? I can kind of look back and be like, this is how I got to where I am now.
And too, when you have like brands like looking at you, they can like see the growth like of your following.
And not like, okay, now I'm back to 100 posts because I only want to show this part of my life. I want to be real and show like, this is how I started, because we all start somewhere.
Yeah, we all do start somewhere. And to have started so young. So obviously your parents were supportive.
Yeah.
Because that's a big deal to be kind of public on social media.
Oh, totally.
So were they, how did they help guide you in that? Did they just kind of monitor it, or did they help you, or how did that happen?
So my mom specifically and my dad as well, I mean, they were equally as supportive in it. But I would say it was definitely a lot of my mom, just kind of, she had this similar idea to me as just like, if I have an idea to start it. I definitely have entrepreneurial blood in my family. My dad owns his own company, and like I said, I've started, my own business, and my older brother, he started his own business. And so it does run in the family. So that helps too. And it's like in my aunts and uncles and stuff too, they all like run their own businesses. And so I think that helps too, of just like having friends and family around you that support you in that. And those are like your number one supporters. Yeah. That's exactly what you want. And so that was huge too, to have that support, you know, first and foremost from like my mom and my dad, but then like extended family as well.
So it's interesting. So one of the things we talk about a lot on the podcast is this idea of beauty and the pressures as women. So I always say the men can have their own campfire. This is our campfire. They can join our campfire, but this is about women, right? So I can't really speak to the male experience. But, you know, as women, I think like our previous guest, she is a Wharton professor. She is a published author. She is a NBA negotiator, like amazing. And she says, like, she puts on her high heels. She does her makeup because she loves to be that person. Like she just that's how she likes herself, is that. And she doesn't shy away from being a woman in these very male dominated fields. But she said it took her it took her time to get comfortable.
Oh yeah. I think that's a huge piece, is your confidence level and just to be able to go out there and rock that and know, like, just first and foremost being confident in yourself, because obviously that's a big, you know, factor going into the public eye. Yeah. You're having to put on, you know, your confidence and, you know, just being confident in yourself to go out there and share your story is huge. It's a big jump at first, for sure, too. I mean, I started when I was young, but still I think it's every day, too. You know, you have to choose to want to take that jump of like,
the styles change, right? Yeah. So the styles change. Oh, yeah. You're different now than you were then, just because, I mean, if you went from 35 to 40, it's not as big of a change, right? Like this is big. You went from high school to college. Yes. So stylistically, just I think intrinsically you're going to change because you're no longer kind of juvenile versus like you're heading into a more like you're going to interview for jobs. You know what I mean? Like it's a different thing.
Yeah. Did you ever have like a moment in high school where like kids from your school like found out, or like were you open about it from the beginning, or was it something that you tried to hide from like other students? Like,
so fun fact, I was actually homeschooled growing up.
Okay.
But yes, like my other siblings went to high schools and stuff. And so when like even my older brother, for instance, like he played, you know, I don't know, hockey and like just a bunch of different sports, but like there would be word around about like, oh my gosh, your sister, like she's so this or that, or like just like stuff I had like that had gotten back to me. But it's interesting for sure too. Yeah. Like even within my own community, how like their reaction was to me starting this. And I would say a lot of the times it was supportive, but that's not to say that there were times that people are, you know, kind of, they can look down on you in different ways, or you just get a different vibe from them. And maybe that's just them, like they don't understand what you're doing, or, you know, there's definitely been times for sure where I've faced, you know, like being in the public eye and like kind of the wrath from that.
Right. The trolls or whatever.
Yeah. And the hate. But, you know, I think that's just something to get past too. Like they don't know you. Yeah. Who you are. And that's what I've always said too, is just like, people don't always know the full story. They just see the picture. So they don't know, they just see the highlight reel. Right. I hear that a lot, but it is true. You only see so much of someone's life. And so they truly don't know you. Yeah. And so I feel like it's not right for them to judge. But
no. And also that's not the point to know you. You're messaging something, right? Like you're messaging a style and beauty version, or if it was a magazine, it's a style and beauty magazine, right? That's what your messaging is. So it's kind of unfair for people to make a judgment about your whole person based off of on one
outfit
thing.
Inspo.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's inspiration. That's ultimately what I'm doing, is I'm inspiring, you know, young girls and women, you know.
So what do you feel like you're inspiring about, particularly? Like when you sit down to like make a post or do a look or whatever, obviously it's fashion inspired. I get that. But do you have like a deeper sense of like, I want to make sure that, you know, they can see like my skin through it, or like, are you filtering? Are you not filtering? Are you trying to like, kind of what do you see as your push or pull?
Yeah. Gosh, I think that's a good question. I think it's something that I'm still working on to this day too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a work in progress for
Right.
sure. Just like you said, you know, looking back at like when I first started to now, like, yeah, like I filtered, you know, and I used the intense preset on Lightroom. Like, gosh, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, oh, this is too much. Facetune, all of that. Like, I've played around with all of it. I mean, a lot of influencers have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is ultimately, yeah, like I just want to share and just like be real. That's what I think, you know, in the influencer world now, like people are just looking for just a way to become like relatable to you know? And so to do that, yeah, I think you just have to just get real and get raw and show, you know, those days where you're not wearing makeup or where, you know, you have coffee all over your brand new outfit that you just got sent to you from a company, you know? And you're just like, yep, this is the real life. So yeah, I think just ultimately what I want to do is just cultivate a community or, you know, an online presence for people to come and just see real life as a teen, or I guess I'm almost 20 now, but 19. So I guess I'm still a teenager. Just to come and like see that in real life.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I need to get better at that too. Like I said, it is a work in progress. I'm definitely not perfect.
No.
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, we all have those moments. So one of the things we continue to talk about is, for me, because I wasn't on social media my entire life, and my friends, we all are like, oh, look, that crinkle or this thing or that mole or that hair, whatever it is, those eyebrows. And then I go back and I look at photos of myself at like 16, because they're not digital, they're like real, actual,
Yeah, you have to go into a
old
photo
school,
album.
like a photo album. I'm like, oh, I had that then. And I'm like, oh, right. So I had that crazy wonky thing even then. And so you guys are growing up where you're face tuning or doing like editing all those things out from the get-go. Whereas for me, I'm thinking it's an age thing, but it's not. It actually was always there for me. So it's a funny thing generationally too, because you guys are so aware of every flaw from the start. Whereas I, you know, in a regular photo, they weren't nearly as crisp. Everybody looked a little funny.
Yeah, the new phones nowadays, I feel like I'm
Oh
my gosh, I look and it looks all wonky, or my
when,
makeup.
especially when you accidentally open your front camera and you're like,
oh no.
I've been walking through public
looking like this. Yeah, no, I definitely feel that for sure. And just, I think there's a lot of talk too about like embracing your imperfections, but I feel like that is so true, you know, just like we all have different, you know, imperfections, whether that's physically or, you know, internally or that kind of thing too. We all struggle with that. And so I think that's, again, where we have to get real and just like share, you know, like even for me, I'm like, I have this little dot underneath my eyebrow. It's a birthmark, I think. But it's funny because I've always like wanted to cover it up with concealer for so long. And literally my younger sister, she's like, why do you cover that up? Like, you need to just like embrace it. And I'm like, I don't know why I want to, because I have this idea of perfect, or I see someone else's like perfect selfie, and then that's where comparison comes in. Yeah. And there's a lot of that too, which is like, you could almost do a whole nother podcast on that. I feel like totally on comparison, because it is so common now just to compare ourselves. And it's so easy to, like you said, where we're seeing like this definition of perfect all the time, 24/7, right on our phones, you know? And so,
well, and it's funny you said that, because even when like, so actually just before you came here, Kathleen and I were out in the green room and we were scrolling through Instagram, I think it was, and some influencer posted a thing of like before and after, so you could see like their real body versus their edited body. But when and then they even had a video of like them photoshopping the image. But even when they started photoshopping the image, it didn't start at the actual raw image. You could tell that like
they had already
started like halfway through.
Yeah, they had already like flattened out her stomach and like enlarged like her breasts. So it's just like, you're trying to be real and show us that you have imperfections and that you have like a stomach roll, but like we don't even really get to see that.
It's like the last, so you're
it's
already
like literally the last 4
image.
seconds that you get to see like her actual body. But then it's of course put up next to like the photoshopped image.
Yeah.
Which is great.
But
100% that at least she's doing that.
But it's just a little misleading, I feel like.
I think, but also in deference to people who are in the public, I watched the Friends reunion on HBO, and I was looking at all of them because all of us remember.
Yeah.
Well, you probably never watched Friends.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, exactly. That's okay. But you watch these people, like you can pick any TV show, right? And they're frozen in your mind at that age, whatever it is. So all those people on Friends were 20 something. And now it's like 18 years later or whatever it is. They're not 20 something anymore, right? So they've all had work done. They've all had, they've all aged. Joey's a little chunky. They all look different. And I was looking at them thinking like, wow, it would be so hard to have that always out there, that perfect version of yourself at that like perfection of that age.
I think I would love that because I'd be like, look how beautiful I was.
So now I need to like live up to that.
Or not even, I would just,
expectation.
that would just be my forever like profile picture. You don't need to see me now. Look at
but that's what I mean.
mean.
That's what I mean. Like, I think it would be very hard to age if you're always remembered at that one, you were crystallized at that one image. So like, you have to give people credit who are putting themselves publicly, but also, like Kim Kardashian, like you couldn't pay me enough money to be her. She is constantly being scrutinized and judged, constantly. Now she's set herself up to be that person. So you can't feel that sorry. I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
She chose to be in the public eye still.
Yeah.
Correct. But like you're saying about auto-tune and Facetune, so you're trying to step away from that, but it's really, really hard. Just like I want to like smudge out something that was actually something real on my face. And I'm like, no, it makes me look old. Well, okay. But I mean, I've always had it. So why am I trying to intrinsically change what I actually look like? And I think for your generation, both of you, it's something you're going to be, I think, challenged with your whole lives because you can't get away from it. Like I can put those pictures away. They can live in my storage unit.
She's like, I'm good. Put them away.
Well, or I can dig them out and be like, you said, like, this is when I was beautiful. But you guys, it's living, breathing out there all the time.
And it's really hard too. I feel like right now, like going back to the Kardashians, Khloe Kardashian had a picture of her leaked at, I don't know, she was at their pool. And it was a normal bikini picture of her. She looked amazing as it is, but it wasn't edited. So it was like this whole frenzy of her trying to get the photo removed from the internet because it wasn't an edited photo of her.
Right.
Which is like insane because if like literally if you looked at the picture, you'd be like it would be a dream body for me. Yeah. But like she hated the photo so much. Like she literally had like lawsuits threatened against people to have it removed.
Which they have this definition of perfect too.
Yeah.
Which they probably struggle with the same thing that any of us do.
Absolutely.
So that's what we have to think
about
too, is like even in, like for me personally, my audience, I think we have to think about ways to prevent that from happening. Like you said, this next generation that's coming, like how are we going to prevent that from happening so they don't have this idea of perfect?
Yeah, where they don't like idolize people who, like, I don't know.
I don't
want to
say
not idolize people, but idolize, unattainable beauty standards.
Right. Because, just because like you could have a friend who's a size 12 or 14, and you could have a friend who's like not tall, very petite, little tiny, right? You could have friends in every body range possible, and none of them are going to look like you because you're you. But does that make them, like, if you're being real, then that's who you are and that's who they are, like, it should be fine. Yeah. Right? Because everyone does have a different body type. Everyone does have a different shape face. Everyone does have a different eye shape. So are hooded eyes bad? But, mono eyes are okay. I don't know. Like, we don't criticize that, right? But why are we criticizing?
I mean, it is to a certain extent.
It is. You're right.
There are definitely, like, I mean, people go out and have surgery to fix their hooded lids or to get rid of their mono lids. So it is like a beauty standard. It's just funny to me because I always wonder, like, maybe it's because I work in the beauty industry. So, like, I see how the different, like, what do I want to say? Like, how the different beauty standards, like, come to be. But I also wonder, like, how does that pressure become so much for some people to get, like, surgery, to go, like, under the knife to achieve standards? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Like, if you want plastic surgery or...
Well, I had a friend when I worked at Barney's who got a breast augmentation. She was very tall. She wasn't a tiny girl, but she wasn't a big girl. I mean, she was just very tall, like, girl, but she had very flat chest. And so all her clothes hung funny on her because, like, she was very flat up here, but, like, kind of curvier on the bottom. And so she got breast augmentation so she could fill out her clothes. So whatever, if it was a size 8 on the bottom, it was a size 8 on top, right? It matched. And she got that done. And I remember thinking, like, that's crazy that you're doing that. But I understood it. Yeah. She wanted to not always be fiddling or dealing with her clothes. Yeah. And she was in the fashion industry. Makes sense to me. I don't know that I'd want to go through surgery for it, but it does.
Yeah, the healing process and all of that. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely seen a lot of that. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, it's a long road. So, I mean, I get it. I understand it. And I completely comprehend it. But you're right in the sense that, like, how do we let everybody in on the secret that we're all normal, right? That we're all, like, so you're going to pose in an outfit that's, like, appropriate for you, that's meant to be inspiration. So if you're in a really cute, like, lavender blazer today that's a little oversized, it looks a little Talking Heads 80s rock and roll. Yeah. So, like, if you put that on a petite friend who was, 5'3" and tiny, it would overwhelm her.
Right. It would be way too big. Or, I mean, she could honestly probably wear it as a dress or something.
Right. So, but does that, but it should be inspiration. So she can go take that color, that look, that inspiration and make it work for her, which is, I think, the idea, right? Like, isn't that what we're all trying to do, is just create an idea that someone can translate into something else? Because I know I've always been curvy, but they always tried to push those cross front dresses because I had a big chest. Yes. They look horrible because I'm also short waisted.
Well, then I also think they automatically assume that you're going to have a tummy.
Maybe that's why.
I'm like mid-size, so I fit into, like, plus size, but then I also fit into, like, regular I don't know
size,
what to call
right?
it.
Whatever. Traditional.
Yeah. So there are times where I have to, like, side up into the plus size, but then I put on the plus size, like, pants, and there's always, like, a little pooch in there for, like, my stomach, and I'm like, I don't have that. So it's just, like, weird because I don't know. And then, or you get into those crossbody things, and it's like, that's
too
not
tight.
Yeah, that's not weird. Flattering.
Well, also
either.
it has to do with your waist.
Yeah.
High waisted, low waisted. Like, are you long waisted? Your rise, like, everything about it is so unique, and we get really hung up on that, just like with our face. Like, you're trying to cover a mole or birthmark or whatever it is on your face, which is, like, the charm of your face.
Yeah.
Aw. Oh,
well,
thanks. Shucks.
Right. Oh, shucks. But it's true. Like, Cindy Crawford wouldn't be Cindy Crawford without her mole.
Yeah.
I mean, literally would not be Cindy Crawford. You can't picture her without that mole.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, too, I ran an online clothing store, and I actually would have, like, some pop-ups going back to, like, trying clothes on and, like, different sizes and everything like that. And so I know firsthand, like, just watching people try stuff on and come out and be like, this doesn't fit me right, or, like, comes out and it fits them perfectly. Like, yeah, everyone has a different size, obviously, but.
And I think that's important to keep in mind, that everyone does have a different size. Like, I feel like a lot of people, like, I don't know, they don't, like, shop for clothes that, like, fit their body. they like try to make their body fit into clothes because they're like, no, I am a medium, a small, a large, whatever size it is. And it's like,
funny.
Yeah, you're okay to size up.
It also, as my mother used to say, just because it comes in your size doesn't mean you should wear it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's true. Just because they sized it for you doesn't actually mean that it's meant for you. It still might not be the right shape, the right, cut, the right. And that goes with like the foundations. Like just because like you found the shade match doesn't mean it's the right texture, the right formula. Yeah. Same with shoes, all of it.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about, Gracie? So there's this thing in cosmetics right now where everyone's wearing yellow toned foundation. Have you seen this?
I have seen, yes, the yellow tone, which then kind of is supposed to like fade into your color. Is that
well, it's like super like golden, and then you color correct it with more makeup so that you have, I don't even fully understand it, but no one is actually, I keep seeing this on Instagram. It makes me crazy.
I think, so they like put on this like super heavy, like yellow tinted foundation. And then they do like a ton of like almost not pure white, but like essentially pure white, like concealer. Mm-hmm. And then they'll do like a cream contour to like even out everything. So then it finalizes kind of
close to their color. Yeah.
But it's just
I've seen that
7 extra steps.
And I was always wondering what in the world are they doing that for? But I think, I mean, it's kind of a cool concept, I guess. I don't know. Have you guys implemented it at all?
It's strange to us because we don't understand, because most people in real life don't have time for that. Like it's very cool. One of our guests does drag on the side, and he was saying like, you do those things for a moment, but it's not for life.
Yeah.
Right? It's not for your day-to-day walking down the street, waving at your friends kind of life. Like that's not how you walk down the street. It's great for a photo. It's great for a moment. It's great for a pap.
That's true.
But so do you consider your page everyday lifestyle or more
like
moments like that, like photo staged moment, or do you go back and forth?
Well, yeah, actually I was just going to say, I mean, I think I started out as like posting every day, and consistency is key. And that was always, what I was learning, when I was taking all these different influencer courses and everything.
I do hear that a lot, that it's like you need every single day you should have a post at the same time. And that's like a lot to try to like create.
It is.
It's a pressure.
It's a lot of your life. Yeah. That you're spending, constantly creating and posting. But if you love what you do, like great, And so, I definitely started out with like consistently, it was every day I was posting and engaging on, stories. And I kind of just found myself sometimes burning out because of that. And it was, I found myself a couple times where I just had to step back and take a break and be like, you know what, I think I just need a break from this. Or I think that's important too, just to take breaks from Instagram here and there. Yeah. And that can help with, if you have body image issues or, just even constantly that like needing to scroll or find the next best thing to buy or beauty product to have. Like, I think it is important too, to be able to take those breaks. And so that's something that I've implemented too, as well, as just like posting when I feel the need to, but also it is still my business. And so, obviously I can kind of make that however I want to be. When you're an entrepreneur, you are your own boss. Yeah. And so I think that that's huge too, is, just lately I haven't posted as much, and I've just kind of let myself. Yes.
I mean, you do have the other things
I've got a couple other things going on, and my entrepreneurial blood is like, I gotta, do this and do that and try this and try that. And I'm like, I'm trying to work on, let's focus on a couple things at once. Yeah. Not everything. And then, it's like all half. Yeah. Cause that's another thing too, is I want to do everything to the best of my ability and not just half it,
Yeah.
So.
And you have class and you have the things going on at school. But so do you think when you're creating your posts, with that inspiration in mind, do you feel like you're creating, to use the drag analogy, there's the drag version and then there's the like, hey, here I am at brunch with my friends version, right? So do you feel like you do both, like the like really ultra like
glam
stylized and like the more everyday, or do you think your feed is more like more of an everyday kind of feed?
So I feel like I post more of my outfits on like my actual feed. And then stories are like the ones that I'll always do, like, you know, my makeup of the day or like outfit of the day, or just kind of in those in between moments, or like, this is my new favorite drink, or, you know, something like I always am kind of playing around with that. But I think, like I said before, like it is something that I need to get better at too, of just like, yeah, like you said, posting like a little picture when you're out with your girlfriends or something, you know. But I actually have created another page too that I keep separate to just like my friends and family.
Friendster.
Yeah, because I'm just like, well, I don't know. It's, I guess when you do run a business, and I'm sure you have that same thing, or, you know, that you guys have your own separate pages, like one for your business and one for. Yeah. So I definitely have that too, where it's like I have a lot of different pages. And so some of it I'm posting more personal and like school and all of that more on a different page. And then when I talk about getting real with my audience, then it's like, wait a minute, I have to post on like all these different platforms. And that's you know, getting to be a lot too. So just being conscious of that, I guess. But
do you, I know, like, cause you said you have school, so there's like certain times you just like step away, but do you try to keep like a schedule of like what you post? Like because we struggle with that at the store. Oh yeah. Like we are like, okay, tomorrow we're going to post this. And then tomorrow comes around and we completely forget that and we have like different apps that like schedule it for you, but they're not foolproof. No. And there's certain things that like, we don't use it all the time because we don't enjoy.
Or what about the scheduled post? So you're thinking of it and then you're like, okay, put it up in the, you know, whatever, if it's an app or something, put it there and have it scheduled. Yeah. I've, you know, had to do that too. Because I'm the same way. Yeah. You know, tomorrow comes around and I'm like, oh, I totally spaced.
Or it's scheduled and you're like, that doesn't feel like
it's right for today.
Right for today. It's like, it's a sunny picture, but it's rainy. Or it's like whatever, you know what I mean? And then you're like, oh man.
For the local people, they're not going to understand.
You know? Right, right. No, so it's a funny, I don't know, or it's like a travel picture, but you're actually in town. I don't know. Like that kind of stuff I always find kind of funny, especially if we're trying to be genuine.
I have read a thing that's like a hack that some like influencers do. They just take like a ton of photos while they're on vacation, and then all the time it looks like they're traveling.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, that's one way to do it too.
Yeah.
But then, if we are talking about like being real in everyday life, and there's a balance of that. But
like I think there's that, it's tricky because, okay, you're also 19. So, I mean, I'm not speaking to your financial status, but unless you're independently wealthy and can, I don't know, not go to college and go just be a person.
And travel and go.
And travel and around. Like, I mean, that's a very particular, I mean, and there are influencers like that who are clearly
dependent. Yeah.
Want for nothing, need for nothing. So they can post the latest Chanel bag, the latest, you know, designer item, the latest.
Half of the time that's sent to them. And that's the crazy thing that I've had to even like myself, like just getting these new, like, you know, I don't know, smoothies sent to me, or just like random products. Like, I'm like, okay, what do I do with all this? And that's what's funny too, is I'm not one to be like super organized. Like I'm organized in a lot of different aspects, but when it comes to like actually organizing all my beauty products and all my clothes, it's like, it just all piles up. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much stuff, but I'm super grateful for that, like without a doubt. But I think that's another thing too, is I'm like a lot of it, and I'm like, okay, what do I do with this? Like I need to give this away almost, you know. I'm like, so it is helpful that I have like, you know, my own sisters and stuff to give it to as well, and they'll put it to use. But
when I was working at Barney's, Sex and the City was a huge thing, and Carrie, the lead character in Sex and the City. Do you guys know Sex and the City?
Yeah,
am I really dating myself? Okay. So Sex and the City was set in New York City, and it was these 4 girlfriends. And the one lead actress, who was Sarah Jessica Parker, had this amazing wardrobe. Like, amazing. But the funny thing was, if you were in fashion, you knew that the jacket she was wearing was like Balenciaga and a $30,000 jacket. Mm-hmm. And she was a writer, her character was a writer in New York.
So like it didn't make sense.
So the show itself is amazing, like the fashion, and it's great. It's kind of a classic, you know, girls, whatever TV show. But I remember there were girls who were trying to live that life and buy those clothes because they wanted to live that life, but they were pricing themselves out of reality because most people can't at, 20 something or 30 something.
Yeah.
Or carry around the latest, bag or anything like that. And so that's another thing I've definitely got caught up into is like even posting, like I have, a few different designer bags and things like that. And those have been given to me or like purchased for me. Like I wouldn't just go out and buy that for myself. And I definitely like love those bags and they're really great quality and everything. But yeah, it is like one of those things where people could get that false reality of like, well, oh, you're buying all these designer bags for yourself. But like in reality, I'm a college student and
right.
Yeah, I was just going to say something similar. I have a girl that I know who like, if you look on her Instagram, it looks like she's living this like crazy expensive lifestyle. But then I actually ran into her a while ago and she pretty much is like, oh yeah, I mean like everything's just on credit cards.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, oh, what do you do for work? Cause she's always going on these trips and like, she's in this like crazy, like she lives in like Chicago and she has this like crazy, like high rise, like apartment. It looks beautiful. And I'm just like, what? Like, how do you afford this? Like, I'm the same age as you. Like,
right.
what did you go to school for? And
right.
She didn't straight up like say that, but she's just like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
and I think
okay.
but that's part of the like faux filtering.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, even you just talking about like, hey, I'm a college student and hey, I still struggle with, hey, this is a problem, because I think people need to hear that. They need to know that it is real life, no matter what is like showing on the camera, whatever, like amazing little thing. It is nice to know that these people are like, it's kind of the before and after, right? Totally. Like sometimes I think we were taking some pictures today of the things we do in the store when no one's around. So like I had to be in early this morning because there was to drop the kiddo off at school. And so I got in early and I was like, I'm doing a mask. So I got like this, we have this beautiful new charcoal mask from Hayoma. It's like our favorite line right now. Anyhow, I put it on and I was like bopping around the store doing stuff with this mask on because we weren't open yet. And so I took a picture because I was like, people like to know what's like going on
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we're not open.
Yeah,
for sure. So I think that's a challenge when you're like, we have the store so we can say, here's the beautifulness of the store. By the way, here's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Whereas your behind the scenes is still you.
Right.
That's a tricky
showing
balance.
that too. And I think, that is something that I still have to work on, like, because, I'm still, I'm not living on my own yet or that kind of thing. Like I'm still under my parents' roof.
Right.
And they're still helping me financially. And so I'm super thankful for that as well. But that's not to say like, I am out there, I'm in the works of like becoming a realtor right now as well. And I have an internship and all that kind of thing. But yeah, you have to work hard, to get to where you want to be for sure. And even owning my own online clothing store, like that was huge as well too. So.
And what's that? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I did that and I ran that for about a year. I started in 2018. I just kind of, once I grew the following on Instagram, and I was posting outfits and all this, and I was like, wait, like, I feel like there's something more that I could be doing with this,
Yeah.
And so I did go ahead and decide to start the online clothing store as well, along with that. And I feel like that was huge. Like even for just like the community to come out and like see, okay, like, here's Gracie, this influencer,
right?
Like who is she? And then, okay, now she's come up with a clothing line per se, boutique, and they could come and shop, the clothes. And so I feel like that was really fun too, and a huge learning experience for me as well to be able to learn like, okay, this is this is what it takes to start a store.
Yeah.
And have your own. I've always had the dream too of having my own storefront one day, and I don't. Like having clothing in there or something would be a huge dream. But yeah, like the clothing industry is hard. And
it's very
I think,
hard.
Even the beauty industry too. It's,
So a girl I used to work with in New York City, her family history is that her dad started Century 21, which if you don't live in New York, you might not know about. It's like it was one of the first department stores that was off-brand, like warehouse sales style. Okay. So Century 21, you could get all this stuff, designer and regular stuff that was like a Marshall's, but kind of before Marshalls, right?
Okay.
And they've been around forever, and people swear by Century 21. So anyhow, she kind of has a family history of like clothing and entrepreneurship, like you were saying. But she just launched a line, which is very
I
cool.
was gonna
Kimberly
ask you.
Taylor.
I always see her on her feed. She's adorable. She's so
adorable.
beautiful.
You should follow her. Kimberly Taylor. She's got the
She
cutest.
always has really nice sunglasses.
She's kind of rocking that way. Like she always has great handbags and great sunglasses
Give
and
me
accessories.
all the sunglasses.
Yeah.
and
I
know,
handbags,
right?
honestly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she always has great stuff like that, but she used to do it and then she stepped away from it and she came back to it. And she has a great little sense of style. She always has like really cool kind of urban twists on things, but it's always very sexy and slinky too. So she's got a great thing. And that's with a family who was in clothing. You know what I mean? Like she has all the resources available to her in many ways. And it's still
and the knowledge. Yeah.
And it is still like, getting it made to the quality that you want, having the supply chain in place to get it, knowing how much to order, because how much are you going to sell?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
a pricey.
It's
a pricey
tricky.
gig.
It's a pricey gig and it's tricky. Like it is 100% tricky. But like you said, if you love what you do and you have a lot of great resources, I mean, even though I've been in retail my entire like working career, when I launched out on my own, I always said like, I'll pick any brain. I don't care whose, I don't care how old they are. I don't care what they do. If they have a value add that I can pick their brain about, I will.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's huge.
Yeah.
And in any business or entrepreneur, that's something good for them to hear,
Yeah.
to just go and ask someone or DM them, like, how did you get to where you are now?
Honestly, our previous guest who I took an executive level class with her, and she's kind of a big deal. I mean, she has a book. She's kind of a big deal. And I was just crushing on her. I was like, oh my God, I love her messaging. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. And so at the end, she was kind of hanging out in our Zoom, talking to everyone after everything was over, because of course it was a Zoom thing. And so maybe I wouldn't have had the courage in person, but we were all in the Zoom. And so at some point I was like, so I know you're kind of a big deal, but would you be on our podcast? And she said yes.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, and it was literally, I took the time to hang out and talk to her, and I asked her in a genuine way.
And like the worst thing that somebody can say is no.
Right.
Totally.
Or just
For
not
sure.
respond to your DM or your message,
Right.
your email, whatever.
Right.
But like
But
the
it
worst they
also-
can tell you is no, I can't help you.
I hung around enough in the room to recognize too that she was clearly into beauty. You know what I mean? Like she obviously there was that connection there. Like she was into like women and women's issues and what we go through every day. So you can't make asks obviously to people who it's a complete disconnect, right?
Yeah,
Even if
totally.
they're cool.
Someone on your similar, wavelength that is
Right.
doing the same thing that you're
Yeah.
doing. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least is, you've taken the time to recognize like, oh, hey, there's this thing we have in common, right? Hey, can we talk about that?
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge thing. And I don't know at 19, I would have been that
Oh no, God no. I couldn't have done that at 18.
that courageous. But now I kind of don't care.
Hey, yeah, I just kind of went for it. And like you asked me to be here,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, it's cool, just to be able to, it doesn't matter what age you are. I feel
No.
like that kind
Yeah.
of gets in the way sometimes.
It
and
completely does.
I think people kind of underestimate teens,
Yeah.
Well,
they're like,
I will tell you a story, and this resonated for me a long time ago with my mother as she was getting older. She would never tell her age. And I'd be like, Mom, like, whatever, right? Like, who cares? Age is just a number, right? We hear that all the time. Age is just a number. And she was like, you know why I don't tell my age? Because I don't want people to judge me based on my age. And she said, for the same reason, I don't want to know if you're 16 or 18 or 25 or we label the terrible twos or whatever. She's like, the minute we put a label on something based on somebody's age, we're giving them a restriction.
preach. Yeah.
And she said, I don't want to be judged based on my age, just like a teenager doesn't want to be judged on theirs. And I was like, dang, I knew I liked you for a reason.
Yeah, right? Aw. We always look up to our moms.
I know.
No,
It's like, see, she was smart. But it is true, like 100% true, because I think as teenagers, we always feel like, we're being judged because we're too young or we don't know enough or we don't have whatever. But the flip side is it just is a number. It truly is just a number. And so why do we even have to discuss it? If you're an entrepreneur and I'm an entrepreneur and you're an entrepreneur, we're all entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we can all come together and, bring our ideas or
Right.
share what we're doing and how it's working for us.
Right.
And like we're all going to be able to grow because of that.
Correct. I can
So
learn
we all
from
have
you.
something to add.
100% I can learn from you. I learn from Amelia every day. And I make a fool of myself every day, I think. And I'm willing to.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be willing to because we were struggling with reels. I don't know if you do a lot of reels.
Oh, I've tried, but I'm like, I don't know.
See, that was
right?
my thing. I was just I was against it.
She was heartily
reels.
against it. So I was like, we have to, because as a business too, that's something that is helping get you in front of different people just based on the algorithms, whatever, right? It gets you in front of different people. So I was like, we got to do it. And we put it off and we put it off. So one day I was like, we're doing it. And I don't know. I don't even, is it still, did we delete it? Is it still on our feed?
It's still up, but it genuinely took us half a day
Half a day.
make a 15-second video.
I know.
Half a day, because we were like, what do we do?
Yeah.
And you're figuring out the technology.
Well, and then
that's a huge
Instagram delete. So on Instagram, you used to just be able to hit the music button, and every music from every single artist used to be on it. Now it's not like that. Now you have to go through and pre-save music.
Or otherwise it's gone.
And but I can't figure out, maybe somebody can help us with this. I can't figure out how to search for music.
Let me help.
Otherwise,
Yes,
I just have to watch a bunch of reels to find
And save things.
Yes. I mean, you want to find if there's a music or something that you find that you like, save it. But yeah.
No,
I can
it's
show you.
how do you find it?
no. So
I
we
feel
spent.
so silly
I know we
asking
feel so
that
silly.
question.
And then I find apps and I'll get an app going. But then we found this one app, and then we were just trying to find music. I thought we were gonna wet our pants outside because we kept picking.
All we
music.
could find was choir, church music.
Either it was either
gosh.
church music or it was Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
Or it was all this really, because anytime I've had a job, this is the same phone number that I've had since basically iPhones came out. So everything in here has just ported from phone. So in iTunes, it's from phone to phone to phone. So literally every job I've ever had, when someone's like, oh, we need to download that music, I'm like, whatever, download. So I have all this kooky, I have everything from Native American wood string music to church music to 80s rock to opera to
It's awesome though. I feel like you just have but it all pops up is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So,
So then when it's what song do you want to add to your reel? It's opera.
opera.
There's a
or
million
it's
other options.
Broadway, or
Yeah.
it's not it's not a tight list. So I have all this random stuff from 100 years ago.
that's so cool. You still have it though. I think that's awesome. I don't know.
It's because it just has lived in my Apple account.
Or your iCloud. I know iCloud is so difficult to work with. I'm speaking of being an influencer and having so many pictures, I just went through 26,000 pictures the other day.
And did you just delete?
Well,
them
I just
all?
kept putting it off. Yes, I was like, I just don't want to do it. I don't want to look at those pictures. I mean, I'll take so many,
Yeah.
pictures and only pick one to post. And that's the other thing is there's a bunch of other imperfect pictures
Right.
that we don't post. We just post the perfect one or
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I literally had to go through and delete I kid you not 26,000 photos from my camera roll, and I'm like, okay.
So
Yes.
This bad. Is this bad? My iCloud was all janky, and I had to buy almost 2 terabytes, I think, of storage.
yeah.
I was the $10.99 a month one. I'm like,
Time to
something's got to
stop.
go.
Yeah.
So,
But then I weirdly feel attached to those pictures because I'm
when you're
when
deleting
I'm
them,
deleting them, I'm like, but I do look cute. And now I think I look cute. I didn't think I looked cute when I wanted to post it. So I don't really want to delete it.
and then I'm like, if I have so many pictures of myself in my camera roll, is that getting to be too much?
Right. Am I being too? Yeah. So but that stays with you forever.
Yeah.
Because it keeps traveling with you. Because in the early days of iPhone, you would sync to your computer. So everything would dump
Yeah.
to your computer. But the funny thing is I've always been an Apple person. So I've always had Apple. So I've had stuff porting over on my computers too. Because every time you get a new one, right, you just like dump to the next
old
one. Right?
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
No, it's
I actually
kooky.
need a new laptop right now, and I'm gonna get a Mac, but like I don't want to like. I
Port
want a new
over.
one. It's fresh. I
But
get
then
to like.
they make you create the new iCloud,
I
and
know,
it's like,
and I
ugh.
have to get a new email, and then.
Yeah, it's a sitch. But the
They
thing
do that on
is, they
purpose.
do. But so I have all this stuff. So as we're creating the reel, all this crazy music has come. We're like, well, let's just pick something. And I couldn't find anything normal. Everything,
no.
or it was like, I don't know, yacht rock or something crazy. Like it just
Yeah.
wasn't anything like that you'd want in a reel that felt current. I mean, I don't know if I had any music from 2020, it was buried at the bottom of the list, right? Like we couldn't get to it, but we stood outside laughing so hard we were practically all just crying. It was so
You
funny.
know what? That's what matters. There was fun. That was happening.
There was
Laughter.
fun because this year we built an Instagram booth in the back where people can like take pictures and like hang out and be all selfie driven.
I'll be in there.
Right?
Yes,
It's
I
think.
super
Yeah,
fun.
heck yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah. It's really cute back there. But that we were trying to post something like, oh, the booth is finished, like come. And that's when we were just dying. It was really funny.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. But we took a bunch of pictures for that. Yeah, it's a lot to take care of. But so what do you feel like your next thing's going to be? Are you going to just keep influencing? Do you feel like you want to step it up? Like what's your next dream?
Yeah. Gosh, yeah, I know. I'm like, I need to find time to actually like
I know,
sit
right?
down for a second and be
Yeah.
like, okay, what is like my,
Game
there's like
plan.
5-year plan or 10-year
I've
plan
never been
or
good at those.
goals.
I
and
was
I'm
just
like,
gonna say I have
Oh,
never done one of
please.
those. To be
I
honest.
think those are important though, to
Yeah, they
have
are.
some goals. Maybe it's yearly, you don't have to do necessarily 5 years, but even finding time to sit down and kind of look at like, okay,
Yeah.
what do I have going so far and how do I want to, better that? But I think for me, I think now that I've tried like a lot of different areas, not a lot, but I've tried enough where I'm like, okay, I think I kind of have this idea of like what I want to do. So I think for me, actually, I'm going to go into a lot of like marketing for other companies. I want to help other companies, based on what I've learned and what I've been able to experience. I want to be able to help companies do the same thing for themselves.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to do a lot of that. Like I said, I also got involved in real estate. So now I am I'm going to get my license. So I'm super excited about that.
Is that what you're doing this summer?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
awesome. Okay.
And then I think I'll always keep Instagram and my influencer. Like, I just want to keep that. I don't think I'll ever like, unless I want to take a break or something, but yeah, I think I just want to keep it for
it's like a fun
good.
creative outlet
Yeah.
too.
It is
sure.
a hobby. Oh yeah. And just to document things that I love,
Yeah.
and just keep it that way and never get rid of it.
Well,
would
and
be
I think people are looking for that because I do think it is fun to see. Like I know women come into us all the time and are like, "Ugh, I'm in a rut. Like I need like
I feel like I'm in a
inspiration."
rut right now, so I really feel that.
Yeah, so like when you scroll and you find feeds that you like or that resonate for you, it's like nice because you're like, I could do that. Like that's a cute idea. Or,
Oh yeah.
and it does. I think it is a nice thing. So, and now that you're seasoned in it, it's easy to keep going.
Yeah,
Right. Like it's
totally.
not as hard it's not like it's not as heavy of a lift. You can kind of just keep peppering it with awesome little bits.
Yeah.
What's a favorite brand right now, clothing wise?
Ooh, clothing wise. Okay, so I guess what do you want to do? Designer or do you want to do
You can do
like
one of
more? Okay, so designer, I would say Dior. I'm
Okay.
like, oh my goodness, I looked at all their new handbags and I'm like, it's just super unique and I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
So I think Dior is like a dream, I'm like,
Right.
okay, definitely, in a few years maybe.
Right.
And then I would say for just like every day, actually a girl that has personally inspired me, like you said, having people that inspire you. Her name is Rachel Parcells. She lives in Utah, but she started her own online clothing store as well, which then now is like in stores like Nordstrom
And then she also has like her own headquarters. So I really look up to her, but she has just a lot of like feminine, classy styles. So I love a lot of her pieces and have purchased a lot of her stuff, and I love it.
Cool.
Yeah, so super cool. Like really fun dresses and just pretty stuff that I'm always like, wow, I'm blown away by the quality too. It's just
that's cool.
awesome. So
And what about like a commercial brand? Like if you're in the middle of nowhere and can get to a mall, what like store do you head to?
Oh, let's see. Around here, I know. I feel like it's hard in Michigan. We don't have a lot of options unless we're like down in Detroit or like, you know, where Troy maybe would have more options as far as like, but I'd say like the first place that I turned to be honest, would be Target. I'm like, you know what? Like they have really stepped up their game recently, like even with their dresses and like their outfits and their work attire. I'm like, wow, this is impressive. And some of their shoes, I'm like, you know, they're good quality.
They do have cute shoes there, especially for summer this year.
Well, the price point's great.
Yeah.
If it lasts the season, you're happy.
Yeah.
Like you don't feel like you just broke the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So Dior and then Target.
Yeah, it's like there's two
and
different.
Rachel Parcel. What is it, Rachel?
Parcel.
Parcel.
Yeah.
All right,
I
we'll
want
have
to
to
meet
check her
this
out.
girl one day. I'm like, I have dreams. You know, I'm going to go meet her at her headquarters and be like, you're the one that inspired me to do what I have today.
We'll manifest it. It'll happen.
Yeah, we
Yes,
will.
exactly.
We're big on that. We're big on that. We have one of the lines that we carry in makeup is called Ritual to Fee. And it's these 3 makeup artist sisters who are out of LA and they hand pour everything and everything's very artistic. Like you can mix, like use it on your lips,
super
cheeks,
like
eyes.
funky rock and roll.
A little rock and roll, but it can be really soft. It can be really like rock and roll cool, grungy, but it has a lot of highlighter and they'll do highlighters in like green, but it's like really cool. And you think, I want to be that person. And so they're like my right now, like girl crush. Cause I'm like, they're so cool.
But like, the thing is like you could totally do that. Like,
I know.
I think that all the time. I'm like, it'd be so cool if I could just do like a green graphic liner, but then I'm like, I could actually do that.
Yeah,
what
are your thoughts on that? I've seen a lot of that too. It's like the blazer, like this look with like a bright orange
I'm
eyeliner.
into it.
I'm like, I kind of like it.
I do
I am
too.
so bad at eyeliner. I didn't even do this eyeliner. I'm like, this is not my work.
I love it.
Literally, no. My friend did it for me.
That is
bless your soul.
Right? Bless your soul.
Yes, like I just am so bad at eyeliner. I just fail every time.
Love it. I think it's super cute, super, I don't know, just like different.
Well, and
because it's still a pop of color,
Yeah.
but it's not like, I don't know. It is obviously color, but it's just different. I like it.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing. Like I don't know. You look at different things and you're like, oh, that'd be really cool. So I think we all just have to. I did pink today. I stepped outside of my world and I did pink. Not entirely in love with it, but I'm living it.
It is.
It's okay. I can live with it. But you know, I'm super comfortable dark and smoky. So there's that. But we each have our little wheelhouse. It's okay. You just have to step outside of one of them every once in a while, right? So this has been so fun. I could keep going forever. This is such a fun conversation. So you're here all summer, right? In town-ish, right? And around. So hopefully we'll see you and maybe we can get you back on, or maybe in a little while when you're back at school, we can get an update on
There you go. On
fun
what's
things,
what's
going
going on with me. Oh
yeah, exactly. We can get a little update.
Oh, totally.
That would be super fun.
Okay.
And we can have you back and we'll have, and then we're going to take a little hiatus for a while and be on Clubhouse for a little bit. I don't know if you're doing the Clubhouse thing.
No, what is that?
Oh, okay. So Clubhouse is you have to be invited. It's an app. I know.
You have to be invited.
But everyone can get
Invite only.
Invite only. I guess it was really hard at the beginning to get invites. Now it's a lot easier to get invites.
Because more people are on it.
More people are on it, and everybody gets like 2 invites or whatever it is so that you can invite people. And basically, it's like, gosh, I don't even, so Elon Musk, I think, started it.
Okay.
And it's like podcasting and public radio and a social network all in one.
Yeah. So there's like different like
Okay.
chat rooms and like forums.
And you just log in and you like, there's a
like
room going on.
Facebook group meets LinkedIn
Yeah.
/
But you're dealing with people who are, you know, you might find some like the head of a VC capital firm like on there talking about how you as a startup get funding. And it'll be a whole group of like VC guys, or it'll be a whole group of people talking about, I don't know, cosmetics and how but actually making them, like the physical making of cosmetics. Or
Can you do like live streams?
it is all live.
Oh, I thought it was like chatting though.
No, it's
like
live.
video?
No,
Ooh.
it's not video. It's all talkie. And you just see like a little icon of the person, and then you're just listening to it. So it like literally runs like radio. You can just pop it on and pop in and out of rooms quietly, because some rooms you can't even talk. You're just in there to listen. And then they usually will open it up at some point. So one of my friends who's working on a cosmetic line, she was in one just listening to these guys talk about like startups and how you get funded and da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, so you're gonna have any questions? Her hand like popped up. And she said, I basically gave him a 5-minute pitch right then and there.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is a really cool forum. So we're gonna probably take a summer hiatus and pop on and off of Clubhouse for a little bit. But yeah, you should check it out.
Yeah, maybe I'll
Yeah.
join.
Maybe
Yeah.
we'll
You might
invite you.
see me
I know, right?
pop
Right?
up. I'm like, alrighty,
Here
here
we go.
I am.
Yep, I know exactly.
How to become a teen influencer.
Exactly. How to
Yeah.
do this. Well, I think that's true. I think people, it's a guide, again, it's that whole thing about guideposts. Like, you know, if you're not reaching back to help people behind you, you're missing something for sure.
Totally.
So it's a cool thing. Well, Gracie, this has been lovely. We've loved having you on.
Thank you
Yeah, it was
again.
so nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we'll walk down to the store and have a good time. And yeah, we will have you back, and this will be super fun.
Can't wait.
Thanks for visiting the Beauty Underground.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Bye.
It was a great day. Talk to you later. Bye.